welcome back to Gasmask Reader. This time around I'm talking about another book of local ghost stories. Well, localish. I don't live in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, but I live nearby, so this time it's Montgomery County Ghost Stories by Charles J. Adams III. Yeah, I've read a few of his other ghost story books. He actually did do one for the county I live in, and I've read a few of his others for various other counties of Pennsylvania, because he's written a lot of books on various Pennsylvania counties' ghost stories, and also one for, I think, Philadelphia, and one for Pittsburgh, and a few from out of the state, too. I know there's Cape May, New Jersey, and I think Ocean City, Maryland, and I think he might have even done a New York City, I'm not sure. I don't have them all, but I would like to, because these are actually my favorite local ghost story type books that I've read. Largely because this is one of the few people I've read them by that actually seems to have a fairly decent grasp of the English language. I think it's because the author has actually done some work as a newspaper man of some sort, a reporter or something. I don't know exactly. But, that tends to mean that he can actually string words together. Unlike a lot of the other ones I've read are by people who just really like ghosts, but don't have a very good grasp of the basics of writing. And one of the other things I like about his books are that he's also not a ghost hunter, which is good because, stories where it's just about your ghost group goes to some place they think is haunted and set up some EMF meters and get some EVP they don't really make for great reading. He also tends to put in a good bit of folkloric stories, ghost stories from the past, or even other weird stuff. Like in this particular volume, the very first one is actually something from the past, so I guess it would count as folklore. In fact, I'll read you the beginning of that particular story.
Susanna Raymer could be considered to be a part of American history. It is believed that she was the first person in the American colonies to see and talk about a ghost and then have it recorded for others to read. Susanna Raymer is one important character in what could truly be called America's first ghost story. Susanna's father, Frederick Raymer, had come to the country in 1730 from Germany, almost immediately upon settling among the Scioto Creek in what is now Upper Frederick Township. He became active in church affairs and took his place as a respected member of the growing frontier community in what was then a wide area known generally as Faulkner Swamp. He would have no idea that 8 years after his arrival in the New World, an event would take place that would etch his and his daughter's names in the history books. It was in the middle of August 1738, just another day on the farm for 9-year-old Susanna Raymer. She and her sister Elizabeth were finishing their morning chores when something caught Susanna's attention. A stranger, a tall, rugged stranger with a long mustache drooping around his lips, was sitting on a stump in the farmyard. Quietly, alone, and sitting as if he was oblivious to his human observer, the chap seemed agitated, as Susanna would later say. At first, Susanna had no reason to suspect what she was seeing was of a spectral nature. For all intents, the man was nothing more than a wanderer who had come to call. And yet when Susanna pointed the man out to her sister, Elizabeth responded with confounded confusion. She had seen nothing. No one. Indeed, as Susanna glanced again toward the stump, the gent was gone. She scratched her head as if to doubt her own initial sighting. Maybe she had imagined the man. Maybe he had stealthily gone away. No matter what, she told Elizabeth that she must have been mistaken and kept the odd vision to herself.
Okay, yeah. The main problem with that is that it's actually kind of a boring story. And plus, I think I've heard it somewhere else before, but I don't remember exactly where. But it's America's first ghost story, so I'm pretty sure I probably have heard it somewhere before. Yeah, like I said, this is my favorite writer of ghost books of this type, but this is definitely not my favorite ghost story true ghost story book, because this one is a little slower to get going. And I thought a lot of the stories weren't all that interesting either. Like that first one there wasn't that good. This is, basically some girl in colonial times sees a ghost and eventually talks to it and supposed to, oh, you've got to repay a debt for me. And it's like, okay, we'll do that. And then they can't find the person they owe the money to at the end. Not really all that great a story. And there are also some of the stories of, people who lived in a house and the lights flicker on and off and they hear footsteps and maybe people working a business and find things moved around when they open up in the morning. Which, those stories aren't as interesting either, but they're not necessarily bad. I tend to like the more folkloric ones, the ones where there's actually a story to it. There are a few of those in here too. Like there's one about a ghost giant, and a few about ghost Indians, and there's a headless ghost, and there's even a couple Phantom Hitchhiker stories which there aren't really much detail on, so they're not all that interesting. And there's all kinds of stories in here. But really, I thought the book got better towards the end, but I thought it was really slow going for one of this type. I don't know. So I've got a bunch more of the author's books on my shelves because I decided to buy a bunch of them since they were all out of print, so I figured I might as well get them while I can. But who knows, I'll be doing some more reviews of some of his other books eventually, and hopefully I'll like the other ones better, because I know I at least enjoyed the few of his that I've already read. So, just going to keep this short and say 3.5 gas masks. And we'll be back sooner or later with more reviews. Until then, if ghosts come out at night, try reading a book to them or something. I don't know. Bye.
If you like this video, please click subscribe or watch some of my older videos. If you think the book I reviewed sounds interesting, buy a copy. There are always links to the Amazon store in the description for this book and any other books I mentioned. If you have any suggestions on other books I could read, or any other comments, queries, insults, or anything else you want to say, please feel free to mention it in the comments section.